Today we're going to be speaking to Samson Soboye, a fantastic African fashion designer, about how digital technology is going to help boost his business.
I'm from Nigerian heritage. My parents came here in the 60s, moved to Hackney when I was about 3 or 4, and was there until I was a teenager, and then moved all over London, then spent the early youth a year in Australia, a year in America, back here, studied fashion, and the rest is
history. Okay.
Music was a very big influence. I'd always go out clubbing from an early teenager. I actually looked older than my years when I was a younger teenager, so I always had no difficulty getting into clubs.
Oh, you were one of those? Oh goodness, I wish I was.
Dressing and being part of the soul boy scene was all part of growing up. So every Saturday, go down the King's Road, get a look, go down to Covent Garden, get something to wear for Saturday. Never was really like a competition, but there was always this one-upmanship of trying to be the coolest, the baddest, the best dressed, who could get the most attention, who could dance better on the dance floor. But it was never like a formalised fashion, just a kind of a street style fashion.
And that was where it started. Okay. And then where did you train?
I travelled to Australia, stayed there for a year, worked in the Aboriginal Artists Gallery, met some people while I was out and about who said that we've got a menswear studio, can you maybe come in and help sort of set something up? Had no formal training then, and I got on really well with the person, Julie Teal, who's quite a respected Australian designer, helped her with her line. He said, you've actually got a really natural talent for it, you should maybe formalise it and think about studying. So I applied to St Martin's from Australia, so that was early 90s, and was studying for 4 years at St Martin's. I actually trained in fashion journalism, so I thought there was going to be more jobs to be a writer, fashion communication and promotion, as it got renamed then. So it was learning about styling, how to put a magazine together, working on adverts, creative direction, so that was kind of the whole encompassing of the course, so that was great for me.
Yeah.
And I started working as a stylist basically year 2, and I still work as a fashion stylist now.
Oh, fantastic.
And it kind of informs the way I dress, the way I put my collections together. Year 7 of freelancing, I've got burnt out. So I was like, I need a break from this, and I decided, the last few shoots I was doing, people were asking me to dress the sets, and so I was bringing amazing things to the sets, and people were buying these pieces from me, and that was actually becoming like a sideline, kind of a side hustle for me. And then everyone was like, oh, you should maybe do some interiors as well. So I did interiors for 5 years, was selling to big shops like Harvey Nichols, the Harrods, shops in Paris, shops in New York, and so I was basically doing soft furnishings. I opened this shop with just my interiors with a fashion friend of mine who worked for Oswald Boateng, but she wanted to do women's wear, so we shared the shop. After 5 years of sharing, she decided that she wanted to sort of go and have a family and do other things, so I wasn't quite ready to give up being a retailer, so I took the shop on. In 2012 we did an event called Africa at Soboye, so I made a few shirts just to, in fact this is a similar one to one of the first ones made, to celebrate the African nations London Olympics. I made I think 10, they sold within a couple of days. I then made 50, they sold within a week. 50 became 100, so by that summer I'd sold about 300 or 400 shirts.
Amazing.
It was a fabric that I'd never really, we'd grown up around it. It was kind of a fabric that we used as tablecloths, so it was used as wrappers and headdresses. It wasn't something, so I thought let me just kind of repurpose it and make it into something that's contemporary and a bit more stylish.
So I'm assuming you have some amazing big clients. Could you give us a few names?
Yeah, Nile Rodgers is my biggest, and he's pretty much bought every suit I've made. P.P. Arnold, John Boyega. There seems to be a lot of black Americans actually.
Of course, there would be. Could you tell us a little bit more about your next line?
It was inspired by Studio 54. I was asked this year to design and dress Grace Jones for the Meltdown Festival.
Oh, wow.
Which obviously got postponed for COVID-19. So that got me thinking, what would it be like if Studio 54 opened in Lagos now? And how would people dress for that? 70s inspired, but kind of 2020 version of an Afrofuturist. Lots of glitter, lots of sequins mixed with print, with gold shiny embellishment over the top. So show out clothes. clothes that you
Yes.
dress up in,
Yes.
clothes that you want to get noticed in,
Yes.
clothes that you want to party in,
Yes.
clothes that you want to express your heritage, but also have a leaning towards dance culture, African culture, Afrobeats. There's a mashup of all kind of mad ideas. So that's my latest collection, and I'm not calling it menswear, women's wear now.
We can't. We're very non-binary.
Non-binary, and lots of men have bought my women's, and lots of women have bought my men's.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing clothing.
There we go.
That's Soboye clothing.
Soboye clothing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fashion with passion.
Oh, fashion with passion. I like it. So obviously COVID has affected a lot of businesses all over the world. How has it affected yours?
I was cured of my FOMO. I didn't have to be anywhere or run to any schedule. And it gave me a lot of time to really formulise the collection, because there was lots of ideas all over the place, and I actually had time to really think and consolidate what I was doing. I started reading books. Literally, I was chomping books because I was just had the time to do it. There was less things to distract you, so I really was honed in. I wasn't listening to anything on the news, because I found it all so depressing. So I just was eating well, relaxing, sleeping. I mean, me and my bed have a very deep relationship now. I did some webinars, so did some teaching online. It just gave me time to think what really is important. When we go back into the world, what do I really want to go back in for? Where do I want to be in 5 years? Where do I want to be in a year? What's the landscape going to be like? What's the world going to be like? And I came up with a series of masks to wear for protection, and I decided to give part of the money to the bus drivers that had died, which affected me a lot. Then there was the George Floyd killing, but that kind of got me thinking, what do I want to do? What is my part in the change that I want to make? About to start a mentoring program with BAME students that are underperforming.
Nice.
Each one needs to teach one. We need to bring each other on along, and I've got skills and knowledge that can help impact somebody else's life.
100%.
And it's not been an easy journey, but it's not been a journey that I don't want to just keep private. I want to make people aware of pitfalls.
Yes.
Things that I wish I'd been told.
Of course.
Things that it's painful to watch other people go through. And if we don't do it for the next generation, then there's going to be a gap. Children don't hate from birth. It's a learned, it's a taught thing to not like a person for another colour.
Yeah.
So I'm doing my little bit to try and eradicate that. I don't really want to see colour. I don't want to see gender. I don't want to see sexism. I don't, those things that it's one love. It's harder to hate than to love.
Oh.
The effort that you have to take.
Oh, it takes so much effort. It really does. So much emotion.
If people can understand that you can just all get along, all enjoy. There's enough for us to go around, and sharing is caring. That's my philosophy. I'm the head stylist for Africa Fashion Week London, and this was going to be our 10th anniversary, and we couldn't show this year due to the COVID-19.
Yeah.
And we were approached by Target, 3D and Leroy, and they said that we can help you digitalize what you're doing. And I'm a technophobe anyway, so this sounded really interesting, but I was like, oh, you're talking, I need to see. So let's see.
It's all great that you're explaining all these things to me.
So let's work with it. Work in stages and bring some clothes, and then we'll animate the clothes, and then it became animate the model. Something that I needed to know, because I think the future is going that way. And it was great to get in at the early set, be one of the early adopters of what this technology means and what it can do. And I'm also about pushing the brand forward and going into areas that are unknown. I'm about Afrofuturism, so I had to embrace that part of the industry that I don't know anything about. So it was a really good opportunity to see how that technology works and see how I can use it to promote my business and promote the technology.
And do you see a fruitful future with technology and fashion? Like, will the industries marry well together in the future?
I think COVID-19, it's got another 2 or 3 years before it actually kills itself out. So we're having to work around those issues. Digitalization of fashion is one way of doing that. As long as you've got the access to the technology, then it's a leveler. Anybody can access it and then use it to promote their brand. the young kids in the schools, in the universities and places of learning for fashion are using it already.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not a brand that's embracing it, you're going to be left behind. The creatives will use it in a more innovative way. Fashion shows are a bit old school, they're a bit old hat. There'll always be a place for fashion shows, but it'll be more, I think it'll be seen as entertainment. So if you've got the budget and the money and the capacity, it'll be a theatrical event. So what we are seeing with the technology, we can produce that kind of level without the budget. Because you've got to fly in models from all over the country, from all over the globe. There's less harm to the environment. You can design clothes you don't have to make. And then you can actually make things to order. So there's not this wastage.
Yes.
And I think we have to use it and embrace it. Click on something, find out where it's been made, find out who's produced it, what level of pollution's been involved, so that we're more conscious of who we are as designers and what we're doing to the planet.
So you're working on this amazing project with Freaking Future and Target 3D, where they are basically bringing you a virtual shop of Soboye. Do you think that now in the future this is going to overtake having an actual retail store?
What I'm hoping it will bring more business to the business, but they don't have to come here necessarily.
Fair.
to the store. But with the technology that's available now, we can sort of be big players. There's a hunger for fashion, there's a need for new ideas, creativity, and I think we have people that want a new take on what's been prescribed, not just the big houses. So we need small businesses to thrive and the innovation from the new businesses, so that we're not all like herd mentality, dressing all to look the same.
Oh.
That's what I'm trying to bring to the table. I'm trying to bring my London Africanism to the world. This will help me do that in a bigger way. I can't compete with the big boys. I'm not even trying to. But I do have ideas that are big. So if I can use technology to realise those ideas, then it will be a really good thing. But there's so many more people I want to reach. So I need all the tools at my disposal to be able to reach that potential.
Digital is going to do that for you.
Help to do that.
Fingers crossed.
I still have to make the collections. I'll see if they can just be me, and I can be lying down in bed.